So, I watched Space Jam, and I liked it. Now, if you had told me this movie was directed by the same dude who did Girls Trip and Undercover Brother, I would have ran out of the theater and burned it down. But surprisingly and thankfully for those theoretical victims, this was pretty good. And at the moment of this recording, I'm not completely alone in this, but the vast majority of responses online and critics, not so much. And that's fine, to each their own. But their responses? Yeah, a lot of these responses belong to the simple-minded, and I guess I'm one too because I feel the urge to reply. Now, unsurprisingly, 90% of the story is in the trailer, and that's because no one came for the story. If you saw the first film and thought, wow, Space Jam 2 is going to be a better story, you need to be locked up. People came to see this movie for one thing, and that's tunes being loony. When you were a kid, this was one of the best movies out there because it was off the walls fun. Now as an adult, you want to say it's too stupid? And I can admit, it is stupid, but you're not supposed to take it seriously. And I can also admit the story plot, it's not great. And I mean, there is one part that actually would have been a better story. They had the underlines there, and I'm not talking about what people keep saying, oh, Lebron James' story as a kid would have been a better story. I'm talking about Bug's story, right? His story is that he misses his family. That would have been the heart of the story, if anything. And then you also have LeBron James trying to find his son. That would have been a better option of a story. And just as a heads up for the people who didn't get it, that's the reason why LeBron was unable to pick other heroes, because Bugs was curating his team. He was basically picking everyone who's in his family that is no longer with him to play in this basketball to remind them of what they are, Looney Tunes, right? He's going from Matrix World to DC World to get all of these characters, and LeBron just wanted to get like Superman or Trinity. And this brings me to my next topic, the controversies. Oh, there's so many controversies, bro. From this is an HBO Max ad to this is disrespectful to the characters to selling merch. Yeah. And also Lola has no tits. And then LeBron, you fucked this up because you had to be extremely political or in a time when people don't want to be political. So that's another thing. But even so, he's not even doing that in the film. So I'm just gonna sum that up real quick. People who are mad about this film are really just mad about LeBron being pro, I don't know, police reform. That's a good thing, but these people, yeah, whatever. And don't get me wrong, I don't care for LeBron like that. He's not like Michael Jordan in the sense like someone you look up to. But then again, I'm an adult, and when I looked up to Michael Jordan, I was a kid. So who knows? Maybe kids these days look up to LeBron. Alright, so now we're going to talk about one of the bigger controversies. HBO Max being an ad and selling merch. So basically just advertisement. People are completely insane. For years, decades, movie studios have been selling merch for that long, right? Bro, before Transformers, the first movie that came out into theaters in live action, before Batman Begins, before Batman Returns, before Superman, like these are all films, like they had those movie tie-ins where they had toys, they had comic books, they had t-shirts. There are a lot of these things that happen. Selling merch is a part of the business. That's where most of these companies make most of their profits from, because they get their product in the movies and they get some of the profits there, but they also sell merch, just like a freaking YouTuber who's complaining about this movie selling merch. And this is definitely not an HBO Max ad. This is not how HBO Max works. You're not going to see Superman fly into Game of Thrones and fight some dragons. No. You're not gonna see The Sopranos assassinate Batman's family. No. There's no text anywhere or characters saying, if you want to see more where all of these characters come into one place, check out HBO Max. It's not there. There's nothing identifying this with HBO Max. This movie was not made for HBO Max. It was made for the theaters. And HBO Max wasn't even an idea when this movie was being produced. It's only recently, because of a deal that Warner Brothers decided to move forward with, that these theaters share the same date that these movies get released. And it's funny that people will talk about this, because if you ever played Kingdom Hearts, this is basically the same premise. It's only a shorter version because they don't stay in those worlds. They go to pick up their friends, they leave, and then they play a basketball game. That's pretty much it. If you even like back in the days in the early 2000s where cartoon characters would cross over in bumpers like in a Cartoon Network or Kids WB, then you would like this. Most people wanted that to be a movie. This is what happens when you give the fans what they want and then everyone shits on it, even the people who asked for it. You asked for Space Jam for years, knowing full well that Michael Jordan wouldn't do a sequel or any other additional films. Okay, and on my last and final topic is Lola Bunny. I didn't really like Lola Bunny in this. Lola Bunny was okay. I think if they were going to do this, they should have, one, not hired Zendaya. There's actually an actress that's really popular in SNL and was in a few other movies that could have made this happen. She was also in Wonder Woman, Kristen Wiig. She could have played Lola and played her the same way she played her in the Looney Tunes show. That was actually a good version of her.
Hey, Lola.
Hey, Bugs. What you doing?
Standing on the side of the road.
Fun. Oh my gosh. You're never gonna believe this. There is a guy standing on the side of the road who looks just like you. I'm about to hit him.
In this version of the movie, Lola is pretty much bland. She's interesting in the sense that she wants to be a hero, but there's not much there that I would say like, oh, this is cool, and she's not as funny as the other Looney Tunes, so it just didn't really work. But that's not what people are complaining about. They're complaining about the fact that a cartoon bunny doesn't have tits. What the fuck?
Stop it. Get some help.
Now, I want to believe, at the very least, 80% of people are joking. But even so, the 20% scares me, bro. Are you really that upset that this cartoon bunny doesn't have tits? Bro, we're done. So, in conclusion, in no way am I saying this is a masterpiece of cinema. This is no Dark Knight or Pixar's Up, and I don't really see a need to check the quality of the film from a critic's point of view, because they hated it in the first place. They hated the first one. This film is basically a ride on an amusement park, and if you hate fun, then I suggest you avoid being amused. If you want fun, then chill out and enjoy the ride.